When a woman starts sharing the parts of herself she usually hides, you are not getting close. You have already won more than you think, my friend. Most men never realize this. They sit there obsessing over emojis, reply times, and how many kisses she put at the end of a message, while completely missing the real moment that decides everything. It is not when she laughs at your jokes. It is not when she touches your arm. It is when her guard quietly drops, and she lets you see something that could actually be used against her. A fear, a regret, a wound, a piece of her past she is not proud of. Let's be real. Women do not hand that to just anyone. When she does this with you, unprompted early, and with that little pause where she looks to see how you react, she is not being dramatic. She is investing. She is taking risk. She is saying without words, I feel safer with you than with most men. In this video, I am going to show you exactly how to recognize that moment, how to tell the difference between real vulnerability and emotional dumping, and how to respond in a way that deepens attraction instead of killing it. See this clearly, and you will never ever misread this signal again. Let's get into it. Number 1. The signal men rarely notice. My friend, let me tell you something. Most men overlook their entire lives. They think women reveal interest through the obvious signs, smiling more, texting fast, leaning in, touching your arm, complimenting you. Sure, those signals matter, but they are surface level. The real signal, the one almost every man misses, is far quieter, far riskier, and far more meaningful. It is the moment a woman shares something she normally keeps protected. Not just a story, not just an opinion, a piece of herself. To make this real for you, let me give you a situation you've probably lived without even realizing it. Picture Michael, 52, from Texas. Solid job, divorced, trying dating again after years of being out of the game. He meets Lauren, 35, at a friend's gathering. First date goes well. Good energy, light teasing, nothing dramatic. But on the second date, out of nowhere, she mentions something about her past relationship patterns, lowers her voice a little, and says, I don't really talk about this with people. Michael missed the moment completely. He brushed past it with a joke, thinking she was just making conversation. What he didn't understand was this: she had already chosen him as someone safe enough to reveal something real. Now, compare that with Emma, 33, who met David, 50, from Chicago. During their third date, she shared a fear she has about repeating old mistakes. She didn't dump her life story on him. She didn't talk for an hour. She just opened one door. David caught the shift instantly. He listened, stayed calm, gave her space to finish, and didn't try to fix anything. That one moment changed everything. She felt seen. She felt steady around him. She felt a kind of masculine grounding she wasn't used to. Here's the truth. Vulnerability shared early is the strongest indicator of emotional investment a woman can give you. Women don't take emotional risks casually. They may flirt casually. They may joke casually. They may be friendly casually. But they do not share something that could make them feel judged unless something inside them already trusts you. And yes, this happens quietly, subtly, with a tone shift, with a pause, with a softer look in her eyes. This is why so many men miss it. They're too focused on the obvious and completely blind to the meaningful. You need to understand what this signal really means. It means she has assessed your presence and found stability. It means your energy feels safe enough for her to let down the armor she uses with most men. It means her instinct is already leaning toward you, whether she admits it out loud or not. And most importantly, it means the dynamic is shifting. At that moment, she is no longer deciding whether she likes you. She is evaluating whether you can handle what she just handed you. If you've ever had a woman suddenly open up and you weren't sure what it meant, this is your clarity. When she shares something personal early, especially something that carries emotional weight, you're not making progress. You're already ahead. Before we move on, drop this in the comments to anchor the lesson. I see the real signals. Stay with me because what I'm about to show you next will reveal the moment her guard actually drops and why most men misread it completely. You don't want to miss this. Number 2. When her guard drops for you. There's a moment with a woman that almost no man recognizes as it's happening, not because it's dramatic, but because it's subtle. It isn't loud, it isn't obvious. It doesn't come with fireworks, long confessions, or big emotional speeches. Her guard drops in the smallest ways, and if you don't understand female psychology, you'll completely miss the shift. What does it look like? It's when she stops performing. When the polished version of her, the one she shows to strangers, co-workers, acquaintances, quietly steps aside, and the real version appears. The version that is softer, slightly slower, more honest, more present. She lets you see her without the armor she uses with most people. And once that happens, the dynamic between you changes instantly, even if neither of you says it out loud. Here's the key. A woman's guard doesn't drop because of what you say. It drops because of who you are while she's around you. Women are constantly assessing emotional safety. Not safety in the physical sense, safety in the emotional, psychological, energetic sense. A woman's instinct is built to detect subtle cues, tension in your voice, insecurity, in your posture, neediness, in your tone. But it also detects strength, calm, consistency, presence. When she senses steadiness in you, her own energy responds. This is exactly why Stoic philosophy fits so well here. Epictetus said, "No great thing is created suddenly." Emotional trust is not built in a single moment. It builds through your energy, your reactions, your stability. When you don't overreact, when you don't chase approval, when you don't crumble under pressure, a woman feels something she rarely experiences: relief. Her guard lowers because she no longer feels the need to protect herself from volatility. And here's the part most men misunderstand. Her guard doesn't drop when she starts being extra sweet. It drops when she starts being real. She may tell you something small she wouldn't normally reveal. She may tease you in a more intimate way. She may let her facial expressions relax around you. She may trust you with a subtle fear or insecurity. She may let silence exist between you without trying to fill it. And that silence is important. A woman only allows quiet around a man she feels safe with. Another sign, she stops trying to impress you. When she no longer feels the pressure to be perfect, she has already decided that you're not judging her. You'd be surprised how rare that is for her. Women are socially conditioned to perform, to be agreeable, to maintain a certain image. Dropping that act is one of the highest forms of psychological openness, but here's where men sabotage it. They either rush in to fix what she shares, or they panic and retreat, or they misinterpret her openness as an invitation to push too fast. Don't do any of that. When her guard lowers, your job isn't to take advantage. Your job is to hold your frame. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." In moments like this, that wisdom is everything. Stay calm, stay steady, stay present. Let her reveal herself at her pace. Because once a woman feels she can relax around you, everything else, attraction, trust, connection, grows naturally without effort. And before we move on, here's your anchor phrase for the comments. A simple declaration that reinforces the standard you're building. I hold steady, always. Stick with me, because the next part uncovers the exact moment she shifts from interested to emotionally invested. A moment most men never realize they've earned until it's too late. You don't want to miss this. Number 3. The difference between validation and investment. Most men confuse these two completely, folks, and it's the reason they chase the wrong signals, misread a woman's intentions, and end up frustrated, confused, or used. Validation and investment might look similar on the surface, but they come from two totally different places inside a woman's mind. One is effortless, low risk, and cheap. The other is costly, meaningful, and rare. And if you can't tell the difference, you'll think you're winning when you're actually just being entertained. Let me break this down in the simplest way possible. Validation is when she gives you attention that requires nothing from her. Quick replies, a like on your post, flirty emojis, compliments that come easy, surface-level sweetness, interest with no weight. Women hand out validation the way men hand out humor, freely and often without thinking. Investment, on the other hand, costs her something: time, energy, vulnerability, prioritizing you, adjusting her schedule, remembering details, supporting your ambitions. These are not things she gives just because she feels bored, curious, or amused. These come from a deeper instinct. The instinct that says, this man matters. And to make this real, let me give you an example every grown man can picture. Imagine Daniel, 46, a divorced father of 2 from Chicago. He starts talking to Emily, 33, a marketing consultant he meets at a conference. At first, she sends playful texts at night and laughs at all his jokes. Daniel thinks, she's into me, but she disappears for days, cancels plans last minute, shows up only when it's convenient for her. That's validation, cheap, inconsistent, low commitment. She likes the attention he gives, not the man he is. Now compare that to a different woman he meets later, Sarah, 38, a nurse practitioner. She doesn't flood him with emojis. She doesn't flirt non-stop. But when Daniel says he has an early morning meeting, she wishes him luck without prompting. When he mentions his son's baseball game, she remembers the date. When he tells her he's rebuilding after his divorce, she listens, really listens, and shares her own experiences. She invests because the connection feels real, not because she's trying to keep him orbiting around her. Men mistake validation for investment because validation feels good. It hits the ego. It feels like progress. It feels like attraction. But validation is the illusion. Investment is the truth. And here's the psychology behind it. A woman validates based on how you make her feel in the moment. A woman invests based on how she perceives your long-term value. Women validate for fun. They invest for a future. And this is exactly where most men fall apart. They chase validation like little dopamine addicts, quick hits of attention, instead of the slow burn of a woman who is truly choosing them. They text harder, call more, plan more, give more, trying to force investment from a woman who has zero intention of giving it. But here's the rule: every man needs to tattoo into his mind, if she's not investing, she's not serious. It really is that simple. And when you understand this difference, you stop begging for attention and you start observing behavior. You stop rewarding inconsistency and you start recognizing who's actually showing up. You stop giving your energy to every woman who smiles at you and start paying attention to the one who puts something real on the table. Before we move to the next part, drop your comment, anchor a declaration: only a man with standards will make "I choose investment only." Stay with me, because what's coming next will show you the exact moment a woman shifts from curious about you to emotionally tied to you. You do not want to miss this. Number 4. The vulnerability shift that changes everything. There's a moment, folks, when a woman who has been guarded, calculated and careful suddenly lets you see something real. Not her body, not her flirting, not her charm, her truth. And most men miss this moment because they're too focused on impressing her instead of watching her. The vulnerability shift is subtle, quiet, and unbelievably powerful. It's the moment she stops performing and starts revealing. And when it happens, everything about the connection changes. Now let's get clear on something important. Vulnerability from a woman is never random. It's never accidental. Women are wired to protect themselves emotionally, especially in a world where attention is cheap and intentions aren't always pure. So when she lets you see the softer parts of her, the scared parts, the uncertain parts, that's not weakness, that's trust. And here's what most men misunderstand. A woman becoming vulnerable isn't about her dumping her entire emotional history onto you. It's about her allowing small pieces of her guard to fall. Maybe she tells you a story she never shares. Maybe she admits something she's insecure about. Maybe she confesses she's afraid of losing control. These moments are tiny windows into her real identity, and if you're not paying attention, you'll treat them like casual conversation instead of the doorway they actually are. This is where the Stoics come in, and yes, this part matters. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." That's exactly the mindset you need when her vulnerability appears. Not fixing, not preaching, not taking advantage, just presence. Calm presence. Masculine steadiness. The ability to hold the moment without turning it into a performance of your own. Because here's the truth, my friend, a woman doesn't become vulnerable because you're handsome or charming. She becomes vulnerable because she senses emotional safety. That's the currency. That's the shift. That's what separates a man she plays with from a man she chooses. Think about what actually happens internally for her during this shift. Her nervous system relaxes. Her guard softens. Her instinct switches from protect myself to I can let this man in. This is not sexual. This is primal psychology. But here's where men sabotage themselves. They react to her vulnerability with neediness. They take her softness as an invitation to overshare. They try to accelerate intimacy. They cling. They confess too much, too soon. And instantly the magic collapses. The shift reverses. She pulls back. You feel confused. And she feels unsafe. The right move, the Stoic move, is different. You stay grounded. You stay consistent. You hold your frame. You don't get drunk on the connection. You accept her vulnerability without making a dramatic show out of it. When a woman opens up and you stay calm, the attraction deepens in a way most men never experience. She starts investing differently, showing up differently. And here's the part nobody tells you, her vulnerability isn't just about her trusting you. It's about her watching how you handle it. That determines everything that comes next. Before we move on, if you're serious about mastering this level of psychology, not the superficial tricks, not the childish games, then consider becoming a channel member. That's where I break down the deeper, more advanced principles most men never learn until it's too late. Now drop your comment anchor so you can lock this lesson in. I stay steady. Stay tuned, because the next part reveals the behaviors that make a woman feel emotionally safe and romantically drawn at the same time. You don't want to miss it. Number 5. How she tests your emotional safety. My friend, this is the part most men fail without even knowing they were being tested. Women don't test you to punish you. They test you to understand you, to measure your stability, to see whether your presence makes their nervous system relax or tighten. And these tests aren't dramatic. They're small, subtle, almost unnoticeable, unless you know exactly what to look for. Let me break it down in the clearest way possible. A woman tests your emotional safety because she needs to know one thing. Can this man handle the real me, or does he only want the version of me that looks good on the surface? To make this real, let's bring in an example. Mark, 54, from Colorado, started seeing Julia, 38. She liked him, but she didn't fully trust his emotional steadiness yet. So one evening she shared something that wasn't overly dramatic, but was slightly vulnerable. Something about questioning whether she is too much for people. She didn't need Mark to solve it. She didn't need reassurance. What she needed was his reaction, his presence, his steadiness. Unfortunately, Mark panicked. He rushed to convince her she was perfect, over-explained himself, and turned the moment into a self-focused performance. She didn't say anything, but internally she pulled back. Now compare that with Victor, 51, dating Megan, 33, from Florida. She tested him in a different way. She made a light emotional jab, something like, "Sometimes I think you're too calm, like nothing gets to you." Most men would defend themselves or try too hard to look impressive. Victor didn't. He smiled, stayed steady, and said, "I'm calm because I don't let myself be moved by chaos." She watched that moment closely, and something in her relaxed. She knew he wasn't pretending. He was anchored. Here's what you need to understand, folks. Women test not your strength, but your consistency, not your masculinity, but your control, not your confidence, but your self-command. Testing comes in many shapes. She may question something lightly. She may delay a reply to see if you become reactive. She may share a piece of insecurity just to feel your energy. She may joke about something sensitive to watch your stability. Her goal is not to destabilize you. Her goal is to confirm you're not fragile. She wants to feel that when life becomes unpredictable, you won't. That when she has a moment of fear, you won't. That when she opens up, you won't crumble, cling, or overreact. Think about Marcus Aurelius's mindset. Be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved. That is emotional safety in masculine form. Not soft, not passive, not overly emotional. Steady, centered, present. When a woman tests you, she's not looking for dominance. She's looking for emotional gravity. If she feels that gravity, she relaxes into you. If she doesn't, she stays guarded. Before we move to the next part, ground this lesson by dropping your anchor in the comments, "I stay centered," and stick with me, because next, we're breaking down the moment she shifts from curiosity to genuine emotional attraction, the point where everything you've built starts paying off. You don't want to miss this. Number 6. The line between sharing and oversharing. Let's be real, folks. This is one of the biggest traps men fall into without realizing it. A woman opens up a little, shows a hint of softness, lets her guard drop for a moment, and suddenly the man thinks, "Great, now I can unload everything I've been holding inside." And that, my friend, is exactly when the connection collapses. There is a razor-thin line between sharing in a way that builds trust and oversharing in a way that destroys attraction. Most men never learn that line, but you will. Here's the truth. Women want to feel you, but they do not want you to emotionally spill on them. There's a difference between presence and pressure, between depth and emotional dumping, between intimacy and imbalance. And the reason this matters so much is simple: women are extremely sensitive to emotional weight. They can feel when a man is solid within himself, and they can feel when he secretly wants her to soothe, fix, or validate him. One activates attraction. The other activates concern, distance, and eventually withdrawal. This is where the Stoics give you clarity. Seneca said, "If you wish to be loved, love yourself." That means emotional grounding starts with you, not with her. If you don't hold yourself together, you will unconsciously expect her to do it for you. And that, folks, is oversharing in its most dangerous form. So let's make the distinction clear. Sharing is when you let her see who you are while remaining centered. Oversharing is when you let your emotions leak because you want her to steady you. Sharing is masculine transparency. Oversharing is emotional outsourcing. Sharing builds trust. Oversharing erodes it. A woman wants to understand your world, but she does not want to become your therapist. She wants to know your values, but she doesn't want your unresolved pain dumped in her lap. She wants glimpses of your inner life, not the full contents of your emotional warehouse. And here's the key: she knows instantly when you cross the line. Her body reacts, her tone shifts, her energy tightens. She steps back emotionally, even if she stays physically present. Most men overshare because they think it will make them closer. It won't. Closeness comes from controlled vulnerability, not emotional exposure. It comes from selective revelations, not uncontrolled confession. A Stoic mindset helps you walk this line with precision. Marcus Aurelius wrote, The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength. When you share from a calm mind, your words feel grounded. When you share from emotional turbulence, your words feel heavy. Women feel the difference instantly. Here's the pattern you need to avoid. She opens up a little. You feel safe. You pour out everything. She feels overwhelmed. You feel confused. She pulls back. You chase. She retreats further. Sound familiar? That's oversharing, poisoning attraction. Instead, practice this rule. When she shares, match her depth, don't exceed it. Meet her vulnerability, don't drown her in yours. Offer clarity, not emotional chaos. Before we move on, anchor this lesson by dropping your comment, I stay grounded. Stay with me, because next we're breaking down the shift that happens when she stops evaluating you and starts emotionally attaching to you. You don't want to miss it. Number 7. The body language that reveals her intent. Let's talk honestly, my friend. Women can hide their words, soften their tone, even pretend they're not interested if they feel like keeping the upper hand. But their body language, the instinctive signals they don't consciously control, will always reveal the truth. And if you're a man over 40, especially dealing with younger women, this becomes even more important. Younger women often express interest through subtleties instead of clear declarations, and unless you know how to read those quiet shifts, you'll misunderstand the whole dynamic. To make this real, let me paint a picture you've probably lived or seen. Imagine Daniel, 53, from Seattle. Steady job, well, put together, divorced, trying his hand at dating again. He meets Brianna, 32, energetic, playful, curious about older men, but not overly expressive. During their first coffee together, she didn't flirt aggressively. She didn't give dramatic signs, but her body told a different story. She kept leaning in just slightly when he spoke. Her eyes softened every time he made a grounded statement, and even though her arms crossed occasionally, her feet stayed pointed toward him the entire time. Daniel, being out of the dating world for years, assumed this was neutral behavior. But for a younger woman, those subtle cues were her saying, I'm open to you. Keep going. Now compare that with Rachel, 34, meeting Thomas, 56, from Atlanta. They went out for dinner, and Thomas thought the date was going perfectly because she smiled and laughed at every joke. But if he had watched her body language instead of just her face, he would have seen the truth. She kept adjusting her jacket as if trying to create distance. She angled her body away during deeper conversations, and when he leaned in slightly, she pulled back just enough for it to be noticeable. She was polite, even warm, but she wasn't invested. Her friendliness masked her disinterest, and Thomas didn't catch it. These small physical cues are where her real intent lives. When a woman is drawn to you, her body relaxes around you the way it doesn't around other men. Her shoulders lower, her breathing slows. She holds eye contact, looks away, then comes back for another glance. She fidgets not from discomfort, but from nervous anticipation. She inches closer without even realizing she's doing it. And if you maintain your calm, masculine presence, she leans into that energy naturally. On the other hand, discomfort shows in micro-distance, slightly turning her torso away, avoiding being too close, giving polite laughs instead of soft eyes. Younger women especially will not reject you directly, they simply let their bodies speak for them. And if you aren't watching, you'll chase a woman who already decided internally that you're not the man she wants. What makes this powerful is that body language reveals her instinct before her mind catches up. She might not even understand yet why she's opening toward you. She just feels safer, more grounded, more feminine in your presence. That's why she stays physically engaged, even when the conversation is simple. And if you want to keep her interest growing, your job is not to react desperately to these signals, but to stay steady, aware, and observant. Before we move on, drop your anchor in the comments. I read her energy. Stay with me, because what comes next explains the moment when her attraction shifts from curiosity into genuine connection, and most men never notice when it happens. Number 8. The words women only say to men they trust. Let's be real, folks. A woman's words mean something very different depending on who she's talking to. Most men confuse friendliness with interest, curiosity with investment, and polite conversation with emotional openness. But when a woman trusts you, truly trusts you, her language changes. The tone shifts. The content deepens. She reveals parts of herself she normally keeps under lock and key. And if you learn to hear these moments, you'll finally understand what most men overlook their entire lives. Here's what you need to know from the start. Women do not speak intimately by accident. They can flirt for fun, chat casually, or act warm out of politeness. But the words that come from emotional trust only show up when she feels something specific around you. Safety. Not safety in the physical sense, but the emotional kind that makes her guard soften without her needing to think about it. A woman who trusts you starts speaking in a different rhythm. She'll say things she wouldn't dare say to men she doesn't respect. She might tell you, "I don't usually talk about this," or "I don't know why I'm telling you this," or "I feel like I can relax around you." These sentences matter more than 100 flirty jokes. That's her instinct talking. That's her nervous system signaling that you're not just another man in her orbit. And she's not giving you these pieces to impress you. She's giving them to you because on a deeper level she believes you can hold them. This is where Stoicism becomes your advantage. Epictetus wrote, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you." Whether she's read a single Stoic book or not, women live by this rule emotionally. They only open up to men who feel uplifting, grounding, steady. A woman senses very quickly whether your presence adds weight to her life or removes it. If opening up to you feels like a relief, not a risk, she'll share words most men will never hear from her. Another sign of trust is when she begins to use revealing language about her past, not in a dramatic way, not as trauma dumping, but in short, meaningful fragments. She'll say something like, "That experience changed how I see people," or "I struggled with that for a long time." Those moments aren't random. Women do not casually expose emotional history. They do it when they sense strength in you, a masculine core that won't judge or waver when she reveals something real. And this is important, my friend. Trust-based words are never loud. They're never theatrical. They're quiet, almost hesitant, as if she's testing the environment mid-sentence to see whether you remain calm or react with insecurity. Men who fail this test start giving advice too quickly or oversharing to match her vulnerability, or trying to turn the moment into intimacy instead of simply holding the space. But a grounded man listens, breathes, and lets the moment unfold without grabbing at it. Marcus Aurelius wrote about keeping a calm mind, and that's exactly what she's looking for. A woman watches how you handle her truth. Not with excitement, not with fear, but with presence. When she feels you remain steady, even as she reveals deeper layers, that's when trust grows into emotional attachment. Before we head to the next part, anchor this insight with a comment: "I hear what matters." And stay with me, because next we're breaking down the moment her openness stops being curiosity and becomes genuine emotional investment. You don't want to miss this. Number 9. How to respond without killing the attraction. My friend, this is the part where most men unintentionally sabotage themselves. A woman finally opens up. She lets you see something real. She gives you a window into her inner world. And instead of deepening the attraction, the man crushes it without even realizing what he did wrong. Not because he's a bad guy, not because he meant to, but because nobody ever taught him how to respond in a way that preserves the emotional spark she's handing him. You need to understand something clear and simple when a woman opens up. She is not asking you to fix her. She is not looking for a lecture. She is not handing you an emotional puzzle to solve. She is watching how your presence reacts when she reveals something vulnerable. That moment is never about the content of her words. It's about the energy you bring when she stops pretending and shows you something honest. Let me ground this in a real example. Jason, 52, from Ohio, went on a few dates with Vanessa, 36. Things were going well until she shared that she sometimes worries she's hard to love. Jason panicked. He immediately jumped into problem solving. He told her she was wonderful, listed all the things he liked about her, and then began oversharing about his own insecurities to make her feel less alone. In his mind, he was being supportive. In her mind, he was emotionally collapsing. She didn't feel steadiness. She felt weight. Now look at how differently another man handled a similar moment. Patrick, 50, dating Hannah, 34, from Denver. One evening, she admitted she sometimes pushes people away because she's scared of being disappointed. Instead of drowning her in reassurance or shifting the focus to himself, he stayed grounded. He paused, let her finish fully, then simply said, "I hear you." That's it. He didn't flinch. He didn't try to solve anything. He didn't make the moment about him. And because of that, she moved physically closer to him, almost without realizing it. His calm acceptance made her feel safe, instead of overwhelmed. When you respond from emotional steadiness, attraction deepens. When you respond from insecurity or nervous eagerness, attraction dies. Younger women especially are sensitive to this difference. A woman may not consciously know why she loses interest after a deep moment, but it's always the same pattern. The man reacts in a way that shows he cannot hold emotional tension. Here's what a grounded response looks like. You listen fully without interrupting. You stay calm. You make short, steady statements instead of dramatic ones. You don't seek reassurance in return. You don't turn her vulnerability into your own emotional opportunity. You let the moment breathe instead of trying to control it. And here's the part most men never understand: you don't need to have the perfect words. What matters is your presence. If your energy stays stable, she relaxes. If your energy shakes, she pulls back. Women aren't judging your vocabulary. They're judging your emotional gravity. This is why real-world presence beats every dating trick. When you stay grounded, she feels like she can reveal more. When you become reactive, she feels like she needs to protect herself again. That is the difference between connection and collapse. To make sure you lock this in, drop your anchor comment, "I respond with strength." And don't go anywhere, because next we're uncovering the final piece, the moment where her emotional investment transforms into something long-term, and why most men don't realize it until it's already gone. You won't want to miss this. Number 10. The moment you realize you've already won. My friend, every man keeps chasing the wrong indicator of success with women. He thinks he wins when she texts first, compliments him, flirts harder, or shows obvious interest. But those are surface markers. The real victory happens long before any of that, and most men don't recognize it when it's right in front of them. The moment you've already won is subtle. It's quiet. It's psychological. And it shows up long before anything romantic or intimate becomes obvious. It's the moment her behavior changes around you in ways she doesn't even notice herself. A woman who feels safe with you speaks differently, moves differently, and even thinks differently in your presence. It's not about impressing her. It's not about performing. It's about the way her nervous system responds to your calm, masculine presence. When she trusts you, her guard doesn't just drop, her instincts shift. She becomes softer without trying to. Her voice changes without thinking about it. Her energy aligns with yours in a way that can't be faked, forced, or manipulated. What most men miss is that this shift doesn't look dramatic. It's not fireworks. It's not grand gestures. It's small, meaningful signs she would never express to a man she didn't genuinely feel drawn toward. She becomes more thoughtful about what she shares with you. She remembers things you said weeks ago. She expresses curiosity about your world instead of just responding to what you say. She becomes more intentional in the way she makes space for you in her schedule, her attention, and her emotional bandwidth. This is where the Stoics give you clarity. Marcus Aurelius taught that the happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. A woman's thoughts reveal her emotional truth before her words do. When she thinks about you in moments where she doesn't have to, when your presence influences the way she carries herself, even when you're not around, that's when attraction becomes investment. And you don't win by chasing that shift. You win by creating the inner stability that allows it to happen naturally. You've already won when she starts showing you the parts of herself she hides from the rest of the world. When she begins to share ideas, fears, hopes, and internal struggles without thinking twice. When she treats you differently from other men without consciously deciding to. When your presence makes her quieter, calmer, or more open in ways she doesn't fully understand. That's not performance, that's instinct. That's the deeper level every man wants but very few ever reach. And here's the part most men never see: the moment you've already won is also the moment you stop trying to win. When you're no longer performing, no longer chasing validation, no longer molding yourself into who you think she wants. Real confidence is when you show up as yourself fully and calmly without fear of loss. That absence of fear is what creates the presence she responds to. It's what makes her invest instead of test. It's what turns interest into connection and connection into something lasting. So the moment you've already won isn't loud or dramatic. It's when she stops being guarded, when she lets herself trust you, when she moves toward you without thinking, when your steadiness shapes her behavior naturally. That's the moment a woman chooses you long before she ever says it out loud. And that, my friend, is the kind of victory no man can fake, only embody. In today's video, you saw the difference between what women say and what they only share when they trust you, feel safe with you, and are genuinely drawn to you. These subtle signals, those easy-to-miss shifts in emotion, and the moments most men overlook, they all reveal when you've earned a unique place in her mind. And once you understand this, you unlock a level of connection most men never reach. If you want to go deeper, understand female psychology on a higher level, and learn how to apply these principles directly to your life, make sure to become a channel member for exclusive advanced content. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the next video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.